Have you ever thought that there were just two types of tomato plants? Bush tomatoes, vine tomatoes, and that's it. Today I'm going to show you that actually there's a third type, and honestly, once you know about it, you might just be the one that ends up loving it the most. Not only is it perfect for smaller gardens and patios, it's also a complete game changer for anyone who's ever struggled to tame a tomato plant that's gone wild. When most people think about growing tomatoes, they're usually thinking of two types: determinate and indeterminate. Determinate tomatoes, often called bush tomatoes, grow to a certain size, produce a big flush of fruit all around at the same time, and then they stop. They're brilliant if you want a one-off harvest, great for batch cooking sauces, freezing, or making a big summer salad feast. Indeterminate tomatoes are the ones that keep growing and growing and growing. They'll happily climb up a stake, a cane, a trellis, and they'll fruit little by little right through the season, right up until the first frosts knock them back. What if there was a way to have the long harvest of a vine tomato without the jungle, without the endless tying in and the constant battle to keep it under control? That's exactly what dwarf tomatoes offer, and hardly anyone talks about them. Dwarf tomatoes are their own special thing. They're not just small tomatoes, they're proper full flavour tomatoes growing on compact sturdy plants, often no taller than about 2 to 4 feet. They have strong thick stems of a bush tomato, but they keep producing over a long season like a vine tomato. It's honestly the best of both worlds, and they're perfect if you're short on space, growing in pots, or even just want something a bit more manageable. I was lucky to be given some really special dwarf varieties by a fellow YouTuber, Gang and Peanut. The varieties are Great Scott, Arcadian Cherry, Eagle Smiley. Honestly, I can't wait to see how they perform this summer. If you're thinking, hang on, if dwarf tomatoes are so brilliant, then why don't we see them everywhere? And I'll answer that in just a moment. But first, let's look at the real pros and cons so you know if they're right for you. So the pros of dwarf tomatoes are they're perfect for pots, perfect for patios, balconies and small beds. They've got strong, thick stems so they don't flop over all over the place. As you can see here, I've put a stake. They're not even tied to it yet. They just don't need it. They have a long harvest period, just like vine tomatoes. They're easier to manage, less tying, less pruning, and many dwarf varieties are heirlooms, so you get brilliant flavours. The cons, they might not produce quite as much fruit as a massive indeterminate tomato. Now back to that earlier question, why aren't dwarf tomatoes everywhere already? The simple reason is they're relatively new. Big commercial growers haven't really picked them up yet because their focus is often on maximum yield for farms, not maximum flavour and garden friendliness. Which is great news for us because it means dwarf tomatoes are still a little bit of a hidden secret for home growers who want something a little bit different.